YouTube. I'm just going to take a minute to check that this is actually working because this is a brand new streaming platform that I've never even used before. So it's all very techy. This week, it's our weekly, I'm live now, wow, that's so easy. It's our weekly wine time, Ask Amber. It's 4 o'clock here in Australia and it's Corona work from home time, which means that you're allowed to drink 4 o'clock. Cheers. Cheers, my beautiful Ella, I love you so much. Ella has been giving me all the love through the quarantine, which is awesome. Okay, so in this week's wine time, we're gonna be talking about, I've got a whole list of questions that have been sent in earlier. Things like, how do you handle high ticket consulting offers during this time? Do you discount your services or do you offer payment plans? How do you handle trolls? Someone has asked, how do you get your voice out there if you're suffering from imposter syndrome and don't want to do things like this? Someone else has asked, how should I be marketing right now, or is it tone deaf? And I'm going to be answering some tips for going through the crisis. So if that's what you want to hear, then congratulations, you're in the right place. This is our weekly live stream talk show. So if you have a question for me, just pop your question in the chat below. And if you want to send me a voicemail on the DM, I can play your voicemail so that we can have like our own little radio show. It'll be so fun. So this week, I'm actually going to kick off the show with one of the voicemails that was sent in earlier. This is from Tula. She's one of my students in my influencer program. So let's kick off the show.
Hey Amber, it's Ava Tula. Hope you're doing well. Question for you for tonight's chat. I wanted to ask you, for high ticket in-person services that can be delivered now, how do you suggest payments for that? Do you suggest creating like maybe extending the payments like long term to be like payment plans of 12 months, 18 months, 24 months for when this whole thing with Corona will clear up and we can actually deliver the service if they have to be in person? All right, let me know what your thoughts are on that, just for high ticket. Thank you so much. Bye.
My pleasure, Ava. Great question, by the way, too. So what I recommend for high ticket right now is I don't recommend, first off, that you should discount. I'm seeing a lot of people discounting and, offering their services at, a much undervalued price. I do not recommend doing that. I do recommend what you're suggesting instead is to offer a different kind of payment plan. So either a longer payment plan or a more affordable amounts. So for instance, a typical payment plan is like $99 a month. One that we're about to implement here in my business is $30 a week. So $30 a week seems like a really affordable amount that people can come up with right now. Much more, much easier to come up with $30 than to try and figure out $99. And the best part about that kind of plan is you are getting more each month. So as the business owner, you're actually collecting $120 a month rather than $99 a month. So I've had a lot of success doing plans that way, and that's a new plan again that we're about to launch for the upcoming one of my programs that we're launching at the moment. So that is what I recommend in terms of like payment plans. And again, don't discount, don't give away freebies. You still need to value your program and still need to value your time and energy, especially if it's something that you're delivering live. The other thing that I want to remind you about is you can choose to tap into any kind of, call in your ideal client at this point in time. So what I'm choosing to tap into, the ideal client that I'm choosing to tune into is one who is sitting at home with full pay. All of a sudden they've got extra time on their hands, they have a lot of extra money in the bank, and they are looking for something to do. So they're the clients that I'm choosing to work with. So I know just from the conversations that I'm having that the more that I tune into that level of abundance and into that kind of ideal client, the more of those people are showing up in my life. Every single day I feel like I'm having conversations with people and they're basically saying that to me. They're going, I am making so much money right now. Like I just had another message from a friend then, like record month. I got a call from another friend the other day who was like, like best month I've had, like so excited for all of this. So because I'm choosing to tap into that level of abundance, that's what's showing up in my reality. So I also encourage you to tune into that rather than just tuning into what the media is telling you, which is everyone's unemployed, no one's got any money, people are on welfare. And I appreciate, look, I'm not taking away from people who have been hit really hard with this, but there's also a subset of the population who have, who are going to come out really well out of that. So Ava, let me know if that's helped. I don't know if you're on Instagram or over here on Facey, but let me know if it's helped, Ava. And I will go on to the next question. Okay, so then Chanel. Chanel is another one of my students from my fashion styling class. Chanel has asked, I don't feel comfortable doing a video message. How do I get clients with little experience? Just before the pandemic, I scored my very first paid client, which felt exciting. And now I want to promote virtual styling services, and I'm not sure how. And she goes on to say, I like seeing other people's ideas on Facebook and want to turn them into my own ideas, but struggle with imposter syndrome. So I love talking about imposter syndrome. What I find when people are faced with imposter syndrome is that it shows up when you're trying to up level and move into a different reality. So when you're trying to step up into calling yourself a stylist, when you're trying to step up into teaching your knowledge online, all of a sudden the imposter syndrome shows up because it wants to keep you safe and keep you, sort of held back into this safe little environment that you were in before you decided to go out and into the big scary world. So what I find is that imposter syndrome is always going to show up when you're about to take the next level in your life and in your business. It's an extremely common thing. Like there are some big celebrities like Sheryl Sandberg talks about having imposter syndrome. Tom Hanks talks about imposter syndrome. So it's very common for people to experience it when they're trying to up level themselves. So just to try and develop some awareness around that, which it sounds like you're already doing. And also just in terms of putting yourself out there, the greatest thing you can do right now is to show up and deliver value. So I appreciate that you don't want to do video content, but there are heaps of different types of content that you can create that aren't video. So for instance, hi Mandy, it's so nice to see you, beauty. You could create, because your industry is obviously super visual, you could create before and afters of your styling, right? So you could show people your aesthetic. It's not necessarily like the industry that you're in, it's all about your design taste and your aesthetic. So, there's no reason for you to be jumping on video and talking, for instance, because that wouldn't be overly helpful. Instead, why don't you show people what your skills are? So, either doing like style analysis or like showing people like, oh, this is, doing a photo of a celebrity and explaining why it works well for that celebrity or explaining why it doesn't work well, and letting people know that you're the expert in that niche and that you have the knowledge and you're able to handle them. And then in terms of getting started when you're getting your first client, when you're just getting started. So all of my first clients when I was a stylist came from referrals. So I would just go and do one client. So I did like the first maybe 10 clients for free. And then I asked them if they could refer me on to someone else. And I just did that for like months and months. Well, not months and months, but I did it like for a few times. And in doing so, that helped me get more and more referrals. And then every time I got a new person that would come through, I asked them if they would, I offered them a free service if they referred me to 2 other people. So I said, if you come and do I would do a wardrobe audit for them. And then I said, if you want me to do a makeover, then I can do it for free if you refer me to two people. Let me know if that's making sense. Ava, I've already answered your your question. You were right up front of this call. You were the first one that I played. So you'll have to watch the replay. Hey Michelle, how are you? Okay. Let me just see if there are any other questions on the Facey page coming through. All right, so Maritz4GG has asked, how do you handle trolls? This is another topic. I'm going to get comfy for this one. Look at how like business up top, party at the bottom I am. This has been my whole ISO life, just all like looking glam up top and then in like denim cutoffs or like bike pants. I've been living in bike pants and loving it. Okay, so how do you handle trolls? Let me know in the chat below if you have experienced trolls, if you've or if that's stopping you from putting yourself out there. Let me know and I would love to help you with that. Michelle's lolling at my business and party. Okay, so this is what I think about trolls, and I have a lot to say here about trolls. Firstly, God, I have so much to say. I've been putting content out on the interwebs for maybe 10 years now. So, I've done hundreds of videos on YouTube. I've God, you name it, across all of the platforms for years and years and years. And I'm quite a I'm pretty divisive. So people either love me or they hate me. So it's not like you know, I'm not one of those people that people are like, oh my God, everyone just loves her. I'm either, you either really love me or you really don't. So I'm like, I really divide people's opinions. So what I'm saying, and so my point is, you know, the millions, thousands of people of pieces of content that I put out over the last 10 years, I reckon I've been trolled maybe 3 times, like 3 times. So firstly, the first thing that I want to say is it's really not as common. Like, it's not like you get trolled every week and it's like this big battle. I've been trolled, yeah, like 3 or 4 times, and that's it. So there's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is think about the person that's doing the trolling and think about where they're coming from in their life. So if you think about your own life, have you ever trolled someone on the interwebs? Have you ever you know, left a nasty comment on someone? I'm guessing not, because you're not like a nasty human being. So the kind of person that's going out and leaving hateful comments on someone else is carrying around a lot of hate and resentment within their own selves. So whenever I see someone trolling me, I'm like, oh man, you've had such a bad day, or like, you've got a really shitty life. So like, I'm really sorry for you, mate, because like, I'm out here having fun and you're out there like leaving nasty comments. So like, oh, sorry about your life. So I normally feel pretty bad for them. And then the other thing that you want to remember with trolls is that people only troll you as a mirror on their own insecurities. So the things that people will leave nasty comments about are a reflection of the things that they don't love about themselves. So an example of this is whenever I notice people's skin, because I grew up with really, really bad skin. I'm super self-conscious about my skin. So whenever I look at someone, I determine whether they're like beautiful or not because of their skin. That's my whole deciding like filter around beauty, is just skin, right? So if I was an asshole and I decided I wanted to troll someone, I'd troll them because of their skin. I'd be like, oh, you've got such bad skin. I mean, obviously I'm not doing that because I don't fucking care about people, you know, like that. But like, whatever you're getting trolled about is that own person's insecurity reflected back on them. So for instance, Tula said that she got trolled about her credentials. So Tula, that person who's trolling you about your credentials is questioning whether they have the right credentials to do whatever they want to do in their life. So that's the other thing that I always think about when I'm getting trolled, is like, oh, you're worried. Like, someone trolled me about my cheeks at one point. I'm like, oh, really? You hate your face? Oh, that's a shame. You know, like, I always just think like, what is it about yourself that you hate so much that you're going to spread that hate and like transfer that pain onto someone else so that you can hopefully feel better about your life. So hopefully that helps. Like, honestly, I don't give a shit about trolls. Like, you guys can troll me. I get trolls on here all the time. It doesn't bother me at all. Hey Mandy, Tim, Trent, and Josephine, thanks for hanging out live. Oh, does that help, Tula? Awesome. And no, I'm not seeing the Facebook messages, sorry guys, and I don't even know if we're live on YouTube. I've got some new fancy streaming software. It's called caster.io, and I'm supposed to be able to stream across 3 platforms, but I don't know if it's even working. So if you have a question for me, drop it below and I'll answer it for you. Otherwise, a couple of the other questions, yeah, thanks, leave me some hearts, leave me some love. Every time that you guys give me some hearts, it means that more people get to see this. You know what? I'm going to give myself some hearts whilst I wait for my laptop to load. Give me the hearts. Where are the hearts, Incy? Come on. Okay, cool. Let me know if there are any other questions. Otherwise, I'm going to carry on with the questions that we were asked earlier. And let me know who is drinking wine with me. Michelle. So Michelle's asked us, I spoke earlier about a payment plan of when you're doing high tick, like coaching, $30 a week for a whole year for a $9.97 program. Michelle's asked, should she charge $30 a week for a high ticket like program for a whole year? So it'd be $1,000. Yeah, so there's 2 schools of thought around that. I mean, like, we're launching a $30 a week plan for my $500 program. So it is a little bit different than doing a $2,000 program. Or what did you say? $1,200 program. I don't know. There's two schools of thought around it. Whenever I've run that payment plan, I get a lot of really positive feedback. Like people messaging me going, thank you so much. You've made it so affordable. Like really appreciate that you've done this. So I get really good feedback from it, which is why I am inclined to keep running it. The only concern is if people like fail out of the payment plan and then, you know, stop paying you. So my advice around that is those sort of people will quit your program anyway. So the people that really want to do the program and really want your advice and really want your knowledge, they will pay week after week. And the people that are kind of like sort of testing out the waters, that's why they're signing up on the payment plan, they're going to fail whether the payment plan is $30 a week or $300 a month or whatever it is. So what I know about speaking to people, you know, because people fail on their payment plans all the time. It's, you know, that's life. So what I know from speaking to these people is that the ones that are committed, like the ones that are like, no, I really want to remain in the program. I'm just experiencing hardship. Can you give me some time off or like give me a payment holiday? They're the ones that, you know, they will pay for months and months and months if you just keep giving them a break. Sorry, Instagram. Whenever they need a break, they're just more likely to continue on. So yeah, I guess that's my feedback on that. Like the people that will cancel are going to cancel no matter what the payment plan is. That's probably the best way to manage that. Let me know if that helps, Michelle. And hi, Theo. Long time no see. I would love to hear what you're doing during this time, Theo. Theo used to run a fashion label. So I don't know what you're doing now, Bray. And Chanel's asked, next week I would like to promote a special birthday offer for my followers. Oh, Chanel, that's so cute. Okay. All right. So if I was a stylist and it was my birthday, what would I do? I would, why don't you do, okay. So you want to launch your virtual styling business, right? So why don't you offer people complimentary 15-minute styling consults for free? So this is essentially your lead magnet, right? And again, it's going to be like a strategy call. So for instance, if you're a coach, you get on the phone with people, you'd have a strategy call. Why don't you jump on the phone with people and offer them a 15-minute style consult? So you and them would jump on a Zoom call. And I did this for a bit. Like I used to offer this as a session. And so I would jump on a Zoom, they would jump on their Zoom, and they would just ask me like 5 questions that they had. Like, does this dress go with these shoes? Or does like, should I, you know, what about this wardrobe? What do I do here? And so I used to like do Zoom calls and give people advice around what they should, you know, whatever styling question they have. So why don't you do that and run it as a lead magnet as such? So when you get people on the call, you're going to give them the 15 minutes for free, yes, but then you're also going to like pitch them into your offer and be like, hey, you know, do you want to keep working on this with me? I'd love to do a 1-hour session with you, and you know, here is the price for that. It's a discounted price for my birthday, but don't discount it. But you know, just say that there's a limited number of spots. That'd be a way that you could create urgency. And yeah, I would be doing that. Chanel, that'd be awesome. That would be so cute. Love that idea. Let me know if that helps, Michelle. Chanel. And Michelle's asked, ooh, Lula, you can do Facebook and Insta. I didn't know that. What's up, Liam, Rachel, Sammy, LVR, you're the best. Dear Belle, Tammy Wiley, Beauty from the Bay. Okay, cool. Let me know if there are any other questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to the questions that I were asked previously. Ooh, these are good. Okay, so the next 2 questions are, should I be marketing now or is it tone deaf? And what are my tips for going through crisis? So if you are loving this, leave me some hearts. Give me all the love. Give me the thumbs. I'm going to do the same over here. What's up, Facebook? Give me some hearts. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Insta. Okay, so Michelle Canini has asked, should I be marketing right now or is it tone deaf? Great question, Michelle. So what I think is tone deaf right now is to be in sales. What I think is a great idea right now is to be in branding. So branding is where you are doing this kind of thing: showing up, being of service, offering value, teaching, educating, letting people into your inner circle, showing them what you do, showing them your process, taking them behind the scenes of your business, letting them know, sharing testimonials, these kind of things. So anything like this where people get closer within your inner circle, so where they go from being cold out there, cold audience, to being warm audience, and even being like quite warm audience. And the way that you do that, the way that you create that intimacy, is by live events. So people want to be able to interact with you. You could do it by having live calls, whatever that looks like in your business, like we just said for Chanel. You could do it by if video isn't your thing, you could do audio. So you could record podcasts, or like even just audio files that you put out on your social media. There's no reason why you have to go and start a whole a whole podcast. You could just create audio files and put it out if you're not interested in being on camera. But any kind of content that you can create where you're showing up and you're being accessible is really going to create that intimacy with your clients and with your potential clients. So branding and content is always going to work. And right now, more than ever, branding and content is what's going to work the best. So, anything that's deemed like a hard sales pitch is going to be tone deaf right now. But anything where you're offering value, showing up, helping people, creating intimacy, creating that know, like, and trust factor, and also building your own authority and status in the process. So, this whole thing, this whole Corona thing, it is leveling the market so that everyone else who wasn't seen as a thought leader or seen as an expert in the niche has the opportunity to rise up and be like that. At the moment, there's so few people running the race right now. Like, so many people have stopped their marketing campaigns, stopped advertising. It's the cheapest advertising cost that we've seen in 5 years. There are a lot of people that are putting their business on pause. So right now is the opportunity for you to take advantage of that opportunity, because if there's a lot less people running the race, it's a way easier race for you to run and way easier race for you to win. So what you can be doing is, showing up, being accessible, creating content that is helpful, builds authority, creates intimacy, sets you up as an expert, develops expert status. And you're not going to be asking for the sale, you're going to be creating demand. Because when, all this shit blows away, when everyone comes out of the other side, all of a sudden you're going to be the one that was showing up every week. You're going to be the one that they're looking to for leadership, because you've done it week after week, when very few people were doing it. So, follow what I'm doing. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Like, follow what I'm doing. I'm showing up every week. We've started a YouTube channel. We've started 2 YouTube channels. I'm doing this live stream, this weekly live stream. I'm also looking at developing an interview series. So lots of content that positions me as a thought leader, as someone who has expert status, so that when it comes time to sell again, it's going to be an easy sell. Hi, Nath! Oh my God, I love you. So you want to create content around the type of clients that you want to hire. So have a think about what type of clients you want to eventually work with, whether it's now or in the future, and then create the kind of content that they need to hear right now. So whether it's content that is directly related to what you sell, or whether it's just great fucking content. So for instance, in my other brand, in my corporate brand, we are developing content like how to look good on Zoom, and how to stay motivated and productive during a downturn. So these are things that don't necessarily relate to what we sell in that business. Yes, they're aligned with my personal brand, and yes, I'm an authority in being able to teach them, but it's not content that I would typically put out. Instead, I'm putting out content that my dream client wants to hear right now. So we put out a video yesterday on how to look good on Zoom. We're getting heaps of great feedback. We've already had people signing up to my programs as a result of it. And that's just as a result of creating content that my ideal client needs to hear right now. Nate says the Zoom, I've already had too many drinks. The Zoom YouTube was so good. It was so good. People loved it. So that is what we're doing right now. Let me know what you're doing right now. I would love to hear some comments from you. If you are loving this, give me some love, give me some hearts. I'm your go-to girl. Hi, Gabrielle. Hi, JG. Hi, Little Plum Floral. Liam, Rachel, Sammy. So great to see you guys. Hey, Brittany Schuler, one of my new not students, soon to be students, I'm sure. What's up, Anthony Kale? Okay, so if you're loving this, make sure if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you are on Facey, give me some hearts, give me some loves. If you're on Insta, do the same. Okay, and then my next question, if you have questions, drop them into the chat box or leave me a comment. Brittany is foam rolling at 11:30 p.m. I love your commitment to self-care, Brittany. That's awesome. Oh, and Michelle said, love you, Amber. You really are so awesome. Thanks, Michelle. I will drink to that. Cheers, Amber. Alrighty, let's dive back into the questions. Leandra 4x _ asked tips for going through crisis. Again, I have so many tips for going through a crisis. Righto. So the first thing that, God, hang on, I've just thought of something else. I wonder if I've written that down. I'm just going to write track record. Okay, so the first thing that you want to remember when you're going through a crisis is something like this is to get humble. So, you know, I know that we all have our fancy Netflix and all the subscriptions and all the things that we like to have and buy and own and all those things. But step number one is get humble. Like, I've unsubscribed from a whole bunch of subscriptions that weren't entirely necessary, that they were nice to have. But, you know, I'm just being realistic around, like, I don't know when this is going to end. So I don't need like 4 different video streaming platforms. I'm probably okay with just the one. So thinking about immediately what isn't an absolute essential in your life, getting rid of that right now. Next up, have a think about how you can downsize. So is there stuff you can sell? You know, going through your house, is there stuff that you don't actually need that you can get rid of, like sell on eBay, you know, sell on Craigslist or whatever you have in your country. So obviously finding cash right now is king. Cash is like super essential. So is there something that you can do or sell or get rid of, or, you know, downsize in some way? Do you really need the fancy car? Can you sell it and buy a cheaper car? Do you need, you know, I don't know what else you've got in your house that you're looking at that you haven't used in 6 months or 12 months. Like, have a look around and let me know. Is there something that isn't actually essential to you and you could probably hock it for, you know, a couple of $100, and then that gives you another week or so of stress-free living. So thinking about that is definitely something that I've been doing. So just getting really realistic around, you know what, all of this stuff doesn't help. And life is so much better as a minimalist anyway. I've been living out of 2 suitcases for the last 11 months now, 2 suitcases. And I can tell you life as a minimalist is way simpler. Now, in terms of your working situation, if you're at home, if you're working, if you are, bye Nate, love you. If you're at home and you're working, right? So if you're used to going to a day job, you go to the office, you manage your office, and you come home and you look after the kids have been at daycare or at school or whatever it is. Now your life is working at home with your, you know, your office at home and having the kids around you. Just remind yourself that that's 2 jobs. So you're currently doing the jobs of 2 people. So before, when you were doing one person's job and then coming home and doing one person's job, you were able to cope. You had coping mechanisms. You were able to succeed. You were very productive. All of these kind of things. The fact is, right now you're doing 2 people's jobs, or probably more. I know my family that have hi beauty, hi stylish Renae, how are you? My family that have 2 kids at home, like brand newbie, like fresh out the oven, and then a toddler, they've obviously fired their cleaner, and so they're like the cleaner and the mum and the nanny and all the things, which I know is very privileged, but also they're now having to fulfill all those roles. So the point I'm trying to make is lower your expectations of self. You know, we all have these expectations around, like, oh, but I work this amount of work and I'm allowed to, you know, I show up in this way and I get this many things done every week. That's how we're all programmed, because that's how we've lived for the last 10, 20 years. But in this time of crisis, you got to lower your expectations around what you believe you're able to achieve each day. And, you know, I think that, like, if you're at this point, if you're getting out of bed, you're showing up to a couple of work meetings and you're banging out a few emails and you're looking after your kids, putting food on your table, you know, looking after your wife, I feel like that's doing a great job. So I think, like, lowering expectations of self is like step number 2 in how to survive a crisis, and recognizing that if you've yeah, done those things, gotten out of bed, brushed your hair, put food on the table, did a few emails, I feel like that's a great day at this point in time. So that would be my next step. Then I also want to talk about defining your vision. This is something that I'm doing a lot of at the moment, and that is defining my vision for how I want to grow in this time. So obviously we are in a crazy little bubble of time, space, energy right now, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing. So if we get really intentional around what we want to happen during this time and develop a vision during this time of what you want your life to have been about during this time, then you're much more likely to come out of this not only feeling like you've achieved something, because as an A-type personality, I'm guessing that most of you are, we often want to feel that, but also you'll look back on this as a time of, it won't be such a hard time for you. It'll be sort of slightly more heartfelt, I guess. So defining a vision for how you want to grow in this time is going to be super important for you right now. So do you want to grow in that you want to learn a new skill? Do you want to grow in that you want to expand your business? Do you want to grow in that you want to develop better relationships with your kids? Figuring out what your vision is for how you want to grow during this time is going to be super critical for you coming out the flip side of this and feeling like you had a satisfactory experience. I'm aiming for a beautiful experience. I'm aiming for this to be a life-changing, amazing, beautiful experience, but perhaps you can just choose a satisfactory experience, because I know the media is telling us that it's going to be a negative one. We don't have to buy into that. We can create whatever experience that we choose to create amongst ourselves. So develop a vision for how you want to grow in this time. Next, and if you're loving this, come on, that was good stuff. Give me some hearts. That was awesome. Next, I want you to think about I just want to give you permission to feel all the feels, literally all the feels. So there is so much emotion going around right now, and you're probably feeling all of the emotions all in one day. Like, I know I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best day ever. And then an hour later, I've gone through grief, suffering, anxiousness, anxiety, and then I'm all the way back up to like, this is the greatest. So it's an extremely emotional time, I think, for a whole range of reasons, not just because the planet is evolving and ascending, but just because everyone is literally all the fucking feels right now. So if you are all the feels right now, give yourself permission to experience all of your emotions. Don't trap them down. Don't, act all tough like, men typically, I'm looking at my dad, like men typically seem to do. Give yourself, if you need to have a breakdown, have a breakdown. I love a good breakdown. So figure out, give yourself permission to feel and experience all of your emotions. Don't judge your emotions. Don't beat yourself up for having those emotions. Just experience them. And this may be an opportunity for you, as Stylish Renae said, it's an opportunity of time. It's a gift of time that we're all experiencing. So why don't you choose to use this time to connect with yourself in a better way? And the easiest way for you to do that is to really tune into what you're experiencing and embody those emotions. So what I'm finding is that I have a lot of dichotomy in my emotions. So like, I'm excited and anxious. I'm scared and what else? Scared and optimistic. So I'm finding there's a lot of dichotomy in how I'm feeling each day, and I'm loving all the emotions. I'm excited to feel all the emotions, and I'm just letting myself experience each and every one of them. Stylish Renae said, listen up everyone, she has the gems. If you come out of this pandemic in the same place you're in before, or worse, you're wasting this gift of time. Facts. That's awesome. Now the next thing that I want to talk about tips for going through a crisis. What's up, Danny Petrovsky? What's up, Juice One Styly? Cheers, Michelle. Now, hey Frankie. Hi Frank. So nice to see you. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about tips for going through a crisis is to take care of yourself and have good mental and physical health. So obviously now more than ever, mental health is like the number one priority. I'm in quarantine with my parents, and every day I'm just like, it's mental health. We just need to make sure that we're keeping our mental health good. And again, I feel like this is a huge opportunity for people to really dial into their mental health, because it feels like the entire world is breaking down. The only thing that you have control of right now is your mental health. You have control of how you're feeling each day, the thoughts that you're choosing each day. the vision that you're creating for yourself in and amongst this, sorry, in and amongst this situation. So you have the opportunity to choose your thoughts and choose your mental health. So again, I really see this as an opportunity to tap in to connecting with yourself further and really developing that connection with self, really getting aware of the thoughts that you're creating every day, because, you know, there's a lot of crazy shit going on out in the world, but in our houses each day, it's, well, you know, we can choose to regard it however we want to regard it, you know, like my house is kind of great right now. It's nice to be at home with my mum and dad each day. And I would never have had an opportunity to do that except for coronavirus. So, you know, choosing to look at the positives, choosing to look at what has improved as a result of your life. And maybe this is a great opportunity to connect with self. Well, it definitely is. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about here with tips for going through crisis is a perspective check. So this might be a bit of a tough lesson for people, especially if you're really suffering as a result of this. Firstly, I'm not taking away from your suffering. I'm not, you know, I appreciate that people are experiencing massive suffering in this. Businesses, you know, relationships, income, I get it. So I'm not taking away from that. I just want to offer a different perspective of thought to perhaps shift your vibration and shift where you're looking at this situation through the lens that you're looking at it from. So what I've been personally thinking, like whenever I get into fear and anxiety and worry, is I always shift back into the perspective of, is this the worst thing that I've ever been through? And I want to ask you the same thing. Is this the worst thing you've ever been through? Like right now, is this the worst thing that's ever happened to you? And perhaps for some people that are watching this, yeah, it is. And I get it. I'm not, I don't want to detract from you. But for me, nah, like no, nowhere near. Like I've been through way worse things than this. And so what I'm reminding myself is that, firstly, I've done worse than this before. Secondly, my track record of surviving really shitty situations is 100%. So every time that life has come and fucked on me and completely ruined whatever the fuck I had going on, I have survived that and I have thrived in that, and it's happened time and time again. So my track record for surviving really awful circumstances is 100%. And so I want you to remind yourself of that when you're getting into pain and suffering and fear and anxiety, which we all get into, and just remind yourself that your track record is 100% too, right? Because you're still here, you're still thriving, you're still, you know, showing up, you're still got it all going on, or whatever you have going on. So that's your track record as well. So I just wanted to remind yourself of that. All right, you guys, let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about. The other thing that I'm thinking a lot about right now is that this is the first global event in history that acts as a unifying point. So when in your entire life, or in the life of the universe, did every single person on the planet unify with the exact same thoughts, the exact same vibrations, the exact same cause? Never in the history of the universe. So what I want to focus on is, if we're all unified in thought, then why don't we raise that thought to be a higher vibration? Why don't we choose that thought to be thoughts of love and compassion for ourselves and for each other, so that we raise the vibration of the planet? And that's what we all have the opportunity to do right now. We can all sit at home and live in fear and watch the media and count the numbers, or we can remember that we are globally unified for the first time in history, and we can use this when everyone's attention is focused together. We can use it to spread love and compassion and to raise the vibration. Are you with me on that? Give me some love, let me know. That's some good shit. I'm gonna have another sip of wine because it's wine time with Amber Renae. Ashley Mason said, come together and make the world a better place. Fuck yeah, I really feel like that's exactly what's happening. What's up, Monique Sims? Frankie said, great advice. So nice to see you, Frank. Ah. Give my love to H for me. Let me know if anyone else has any other questions. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the live stream and carry on. Brittany's asking my Chardonnay girl. I'm so shardy. Okay, so this is the other thing that, you know, just trying to find trying to find the things that are going great as a result of this situation that we're all finding ourselves in. I found a brand new Chardonnay that's selling for $11 at Dan Murphy's, and if I could make a Chardonnay, it would be this. It's so buttery, it's so strong. I love it so much. Not like alcohol strong, it's just like really like bold. And I found that during quarantine. So cheers. Let me know, you guys, are you Shardies or are you red, or are you like cringing at the thought that I'm drinking Chardonnay? Let me know. All right, I think we're going to wrap up. There's a little bit of delay on the Facebook, but Insta, you're all up to date. So thanks for hanging out, Instagram. Great to chat. Chardonnay all the way. Ah, great one. Strong body, strong soul. That's awesome. Cheers. Oh, you're Sauv Blanc all the way. So is my cousin Jody. Oh, and so that's the other thing. Buttery Shardy, yes. That's the other thing with this Corona lockdown. I've got, I don't know, maybe 40 cousins, probably 40 cousins all in Australia, but you know, we catch up once a year for Easter, for Christmas. And as a result of coronavirus, we're now having like a weekly, you know, online party thing, which we all drink the wine and have the chats, and it's fucking beautiful. Like so cute, really, really cute. Hi, Maria. Cheers. Cheers. Okay, cool. I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks, Brittany. Thanks for hanging out live. I really appreciate it. I'm running out of wine. I know. There's a lot of empty wine boxes at my house, Maria, for some reason. I don't know why, but there's a lot. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go and have some wine, knock off. It's Friday, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. now. Thanks for hanging out live. Bye, guys. Thanks, Facebook. Oh, Chanel likes Brown Brothers Moscato Rosé. Ooh, yep, that's a goodie. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me live. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.